Welcome. It's been 2 weeks since our last episode, but there's been a lot going on. It's all my fault. I decided to get sick for some weird reason, and it messed up everything. But episode 15 of the 615 Locker Room podcast, where we talk Nashville sports and Tennessee sports. Thanks for joining us. We got work trip Matt again, so not his usual nice looking setup, but a hotel. Yeah, I just want to kick off things by saying, talking about my Memphis trip because that kind of ties into why this episode is a little late. Went to Memphis the day before I went to Memphis. I got like a cough kind of started, and I was like, dude, this is just my luck getting sick right before going on vacation. Um, yeah, it was an interesting trip, man. It, I don't know. The city's so weird. We went to the Memphis Grizzly game like the first night that we were down there, and that's obviously like in the Bill Street kind of area. And like we were the Grizzlies game was fun. We lost to Boston. We fell apart in the fourth quarter. It's just we were playing like if you look at our injury reserve or report right now, it's just we're playing the B squad, the C squad, and another one of our players just got arrested yesterday, Brandon Clark, for uh, drug trafficking charges and stuff.
Oh,
So
Jesus.
yeah, it's Memphis Grizzlies are just a crap show right now. Um, but dude, 20 minute like we got out of the game. It was is first off is a super fun time spending time with my girlfriend and friends from college, despite all the other nonsense that happened. But we got out of the Grizzlies game and we were like, should we go to a bar or do something, get a few drinks? We're out. Um, like 20 minutes later, I'm not going to say the word because YouTube doesn't like it, but there was a incident that is, common in Memphis, right where we were going to be. The National Guard came in, and it's like, dude, like, because the whole time, all of the like friends who hadn't been there were like, we don't want to be out after dark, blah blah blah. Memphis has its reputation, which fair game. So of course something like that had to happen. Uh, but yeah, we went and saw the Peabody Hotel. If anyone's familiar with like the ducks and stuff or
Mhm.
whatever it is, um, went to the Memphis Zoo, which was fun, and closed out the weekend with me and my girlfriend going to Graceland by ourselves, and that was super cool to see. But yeah,
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I've been to Memphis a couple times over the last several years down there for like refereeing soccer tournaments and stuff like that. But much like my work trips here, I'm usually flying solo on those trips. Jessica's not going to drive down to Memphis with me if I'm just going to be reffing a soccer tournament the whole time we're down there. So it's always kind of like an interesting deal, like when you're in like these places on your own. And I'm like, do I want to go to Beale Street on my own? Do I want to do this on my own? Like down here in Atlanta, what am I doing on my own? So like I've not explored that much when I've been down there. I've gone to a handful of like random places and stuff like that, but I've never like fully done like a full on Memphis trip. I've just kind of mostly been like, I might dip my toe in the water or something, but then I'm going back to my hotel very quickly when I've been down there.
Bill Street is so cool. I mean, it's a very historic place. Like you know, Nashville guys, me and you, so like Music City is in our blood, music's in our blood, and Bill Street is such a historically important place for music, and it just kind of sucks that it is turned into what it's turned into. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not the governor of Memphis. Someone else can figure that out, but I hope that everyone stays safe this year. I guess is a good way to put it. I flew on an airplane by myself. That was interesting.
Mm.
The first ride down there, um, I was like, I, I had a few adult beverages to calm the nerves. Some might say like a few too many. I think that's a phrase that they use. Uh,
I wouldn't know.
and it was me, middle seat, and then like another young dude. And I had broken the seal before we got on the airplane, so that was an issue. It's like a 25-minute flight, so the seatbelt lights don't come off. I leaned over to the guy next to me. I was like, "You think it's okay if I go pee right now?" Like, and we were probably still on the ascent. He's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And then came back from the bathroom, and me and him just talked about sports for like the whole time. So it was a really good flight. It felt smooth. The next flight, though, coming home, um, I decided to not have any beverages of encouragement, and I was shitting my pants the entire time. I don't know if it's like turbulence, but it felt like the plane like kept like going down and like getting into pockets, and I just every time I was like, hold on, I don't know, but I did not like
Those
it.
little those little short flights are always a little bit like touch and go because like me and Just have switched to Delta the last few years, so like a lot of our flights that we when we're going to like Mexico or Dominican Republic, we like connect through Atlanta, and
Hmm.
Atlanta to Nashville is like very similar. It's like you basically ascend and then immediately start your decline, so you never really
Yeah.
get to just the cruising altitude. So the whole time you kind of feel that little wonkiness of the climb, and then you're right back into the descent. So you never feel that just like smooth, we're just cruising in the air feel. It always kind of feels a little weird. I don't know why, but like the last like year or so, I've gotten a little more tense with flying than I used to be. Like when me and Justin first started traveling a lot together, I hadn't flown in like 20 years because my mom is, and hopefully this is not something she's passed on to me, but like my mom is like insanely not a flyer. Like she grew
Yeah.
up being like in the teacher aerospace program and flying on like military planes and stuff like that. And somewhere around like 1998, 97, maybe even a little earlier, she just was getting bugged out on flying and just couldn't do it anymore. So for the last like 20 years of me traveling places with my family, it was always going to be road trips. So like when me and Justice started like going on trips together, that was like the first time in forever I'd flown. I was like, oh, it's so fun to fly again. I haven't flown in forever. And like whatever reason, like the last year or so, I've gotten back into that kind of weird like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what is the plane supposed to shake like this? What? Why haven't they brought the chips out yet? What's going on? Where is all the flight attendants? Like, I don't know. It's like trying to get that out of my head. Like the last trip we went on, this was hilarious. Like, Jessica has these like pills, like they're just like anxiety pills. Like they're not like
Hmm.
anything like heavy or anything like that. But like I took one because I kind of just have one, just like not. I'm not going crazy or anything, but just like I'd
Yeah.
like to be a little more settled than I am.
Yeah.
And it worked really well. I guess, it's anything you don't take anything, it probably hits you harder than other things. And I was like starting to fall asleep, and she kept waking me up. And I'm like, I am doing good. I'm falling asleep. I'm going to make it through this flight. And she's like, but I'm sitting here bored. You're leaving me alone. You have to stay awake and keep me entertained. I'm like, oh my God, jeez. Yeah, so
Yeah.
flying is fun.
I mean, I think, I mean, this, I don't think I'm going to fly much in my life. It's just not in my cards. But when I do, I'm definitely going to have, a few things to cool me down. I did get trading cards. I'll throw that up on the screen from the pilots both times. So that was pretty cool. I don't have them readily available, but yeah, that was a cool thing. And they're worth like $40 each. I was looking at the prices of them, and I guess you have to buy a plane ticket to get them, but unless you just go hang out in the airport. The
One thing I
Matt,
can't recommend enough, like as an adult flyer, um, Jess is a genius at this. She has
mhm.
like all the credit cards that get us like lounge access to
Oh
like the
yeah,
different lounges in airports and stuff like that. And that is growing up from like when I flew with my family to then like when I maybe flew a handful of times with some buddies to go on trips and stuff like that to like flying with her where she's just a genius of everything credit
hmm
card points and credit card benefits related to where we're going into a lounge and I don't drink but she's having free drinks and there's
yeah,
snacks and food and all that stuff and it's a much more relaxing atmosphere pre-flight than like out in the terminal with everybody else. So if you have the ability to secure some of those credit cards that get you some of those benefits, I would recommend that to anybody because lounge access is a game changer.
yeah. I know you never want to be with the poors, as you say it in your videos.
I mean,
Looks like a good life.
I've tried to get away from that term because I think some people didn't always get the sarcasm in it because I'm certainly just not a person who has insane levels of means, and it was more of like, but I can understand why people would be offended by it. So I've tried to get away from that, but that was like early days of like some of our early travels, maybe like, oh, we got to go to the lounge and get away from the poors, and like, I'm only here because my wife's way smarter and way better off than me. I'm literally one of the poors who
Yeah.
she's dragging along. So that got lost sometimes. And I think people got offended by it occasionally. So I've tried to stay away from that, but it is what it is.
I found it hilarious. But also I met at whenever I landed at Nashville, is it BNA? Is that what the um
Mm-hmm.
I met the Rhode Island soccer team for USL, and I like every time I meet, when I met Eddie, when I met Palacios, when I met Yazbek, um I'm always hammered, and it's just like I like the dude with a beard. You know, I shouldn't be super this psyched out about. What's up, man? Hey, how you guys doing? I just walked up to random guys all wearing the same jacket at the airport. It's like, what sports team? And looking back, maybe it would have been bad if they were like, we're actually a chess team, and I'm like, oh shit. Um, but yeah, it's just that was cool. They were all nice. I followed them all. I don't know. I meant to check if they won their game against I think Lexington. Um, but I think they did. Super nice guys. So if for some reason somehow you're watching this, shout out you guys. So ended that with being landed in Nashville. There's a huge thing that we haven't talked about, Matt, and that's we defeated Thanos. We brought down
Yeah.
our arch nemesis, our villain. I mean, listen, I don't want to boast too much about it because we won in not the way I would have wanted to win in.
Not technically winning.
Yeah, we won. We won by not winning. Exactly.
The greatest 1-1 victory since USA beat England in the World Cup.
It's yeah. We. I mean, I'm still happy with both performances because we didn't let Messi be Messi, and we didn't let him just walk over us. But it is kind of one of those weird things where it's like I definitely celebrated, but like don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
go talk shit to the Messi bots on Twitter because they have a pretty good defense. Like they have pretty good comebacks. They could say. Um, but what was your thoughts on the Miami takedown?
Yeah, I mean, I can completely understand why some people, especially Miami fans, are very negative on the tiebreaker rule. But I'm a little bit more accustomed to it just because up until recently, that was the
Mm-hmm.
tiebreaker for the Champions League, which is the European equivalent of the CONCACAF Champions Cup and the one of the highest level competitions in the world. So like I'm a little more accustomed to it. It's only recently changed for them. Um, but I mean, I think even though we didn't technically beat them, if you kind of like watch the games, I mean, not kind of, if you do watch those two games, I think most people, from an unbiased opinion, would say Nashville was the better team across both legs. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from just a quality and performance standpoint, I thought we were the better team. I thought we deserved to go through. I'm happy we did. To your point, though, about not wanting to get too ahead of ourselves, not wanting to talk too much, I think a big part of that is we've caught Miami at a really good time because they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
even still having the best player in the world, Leo Messi, they're in a bit of a reset mode because obviously they lost Sergio Busquets, they lost Jordi Alba, who both retired, and those are two guys who are longtime Messi compatriots. They know how to play with him. They know what the setup is. They know how to do things. They've played at a very high level. They brought in some new dudes. I know from watching my guys over on the Battered Herons podcast, they're not very happy with like Bertrami, the striker from Mexico that they brought in as a new
Mm-hmm.
designated player. He is, I don't think, has scored a goal or got an assist yet for Miami. Um, but I think that's a good time to catch them because I think it's probably kind of challenging for like a traditional striker like him to come in and learn how to play with Messi because it's kind of become a famous thing in the Miami era that Messi really doesn't play a position anymore. He kind of just floats around the field and he waits for
Walks around
the
for a little
breaks,
bit.
walks around a little bit. He's not really like playing like a 10. He's not really playing like a winger. He's not really playing like a 9. He just kind of floats around and looks for the spaces, looks for the opportunities, and he's a genius at it. He's super, super talented at that. But like when you're, a traditional number 9 and you're used to playing in a certain way, used to having certain support players playing a certain way around you, I think that maybe is something that's maybe he's not fully adjusted to the new striker they have there. And that's why, even though Luis Suarez had no legs, he was still performing pretty well the last 2 years because he's played with Messi for years. He knows how to play with Messi. So I think we caught them at the good time because, we've seen enough to know they're not going to stop bringing in players. They're not going to stop signing new players. Already linked with Casemiro when
Hmm.
his Manchester United contract expires, which that one's going to be so tough for me if that comes true because, like, personally, all the little messy boys they brought in, all his friends, all his buddies, all these players, I kind of already didn't like any of them. They all played for teams I didn't like. They all played for teams that were rivals. So for them to bring in Casemiro, who played for Manchester United, who I've grown to love over the last like 4 or 5 years that he's been there, that's going to be tough for me because it's very easy for me to root against Rodrigo de Paul. It's very easy for me to root against Messi. It's very easy to root against Luis Suarez. Casemiro, I kind of love Casemiro. That's gonna if that comes to fruition, that's gonna be a tough one. But he really, I think he comes in the summer for them. That could be a huge one for them because he can do all the things Busquets did for them. So I think as nice as it feels, as good of an accomplishment is to get past that, be into the next round of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and to kind of somewhat slay the Miami Dragon. I don't think that's going away. I don't think it's a dead and buried, because I don't think we play them again until like maybe like August or something like that in MLS play. So
Hmm.
they will be, I would suspect, a very different team the next time we see them.
Yeah, yeah, and I've been seeing a bunch of links with them too, and that's one that stood out to me, which I was hoping you'd talk on. So I'm glad that you hit on that. So beating Miami in Concacaf means that we're going to go against Club America again, which we briefly hit on last show, but we didn't go super into obviously because we hadn't beat Miami yet and we weren't sure, but this is going to be another tough matchup, I think. It, Club America is a strong team. I don't know how they're doing this year, uh, but the fans are, about the same as Miami fans, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be competitive. Do you have a little more insight of kind of what you're expecting with that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, they are probably the biggest team in terms of fan base, in terms of, history in probably all of North America. I mean, not just Mexico. Um, we saw it here when we played them in the League's Cup. It was kind of almost like a Club America takeover, just a little bit, which is nice because we both wore yellow, so it didn't look as bad on TV if there was a lot of Club America fans at that game. Famously,
Mm-hmm.
that game was one of the craziest ones of all time, where penalty shootout looks like we lost. I'm literally in the parking lot, and then people are kind of like buzzing, like, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute!" I pull up Apple TV on my phone, and I'm like, "Oh my God, they VAR'd it. We're back," and we end up winning that game. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
running around in the fairgrounds parking lot, just going like, "Oh my God, what the hell? How'd this happen?" But they're always one of the top teams in Liga MX, and Liga MX has always been a little bit ahead of MLS in this competition. So
Mm-hmm.
certainly expect it to be a tough matchup. Like, but to your point, I'm same boat. I don't know too much exactly about where they're at, how they are right now. I do know I watched their second leg matchup against Philadelphia
Mm-hmm.
the round before, and I was a little bit surprised because Philadelphia kind of gave them a little bit of a challenge. Like it wasn't a walk in the park. They kind of had to hold on to get through Philadelphia. And, Philadelphia is, I think, winless. I think they've lost every match in MLS play this season. And some of that could be just focusing on Champions Cup. Some of that could be other things. But I mean, if Philadelphia can play them tough, if Philadelphia can give them a challenge, I would suspect, Nashville SC can do the same. The big key to me is going to be, the away leg. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
we need to get a result in the home leg. We can't, go 0-0 like we did against Miami because, going to a fake half-built stadium in Fort Lauderdale is nothing compared to going to the Stadio Azteca that Club America plays in, which is the most difficult place to play in all of North America. U.S. men's national team famously took 100 years to get a result down there against Mexico in international play, and not many teams do well there. So, it's really, we can't just, count on going in down and getting a 1-1 draw down there. We gotta get something out of the first leg coming up. I think it's Tuesday, I believe, coming up April
Mm-hmm.
7th. So
Yeah.
the first leg, the home leg at Geodis Park, is going to be huge for us.
It'll be a stadium full of yellow. That's for sure.
Exactly. Exactly.
You'll see some yellow jerseys. Uh, that's the match that was the infamous one, I guess. That's the one where Mayer missed the PK, but the goalie jumped off. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and then it took a very long time for them to get the match restarted because Club America fans rushed the field and invaded the
Mm-hmm.
pitch, and
Yeah.
a lot of myself included, people just Nashville SC fans left because there was just we didn't get like a clear indication that anything was being reviewed, anything was being challenged, so it just seemed like the game was over. And like I said, by the time I got to the parking lot, all of a sudden everybody's
Yeah.
like looking around at each other, everybody's starting, the buzz starts going, everybody's going, they're restarting it, VAR, whatever. And then it's like watch the rest of the penalty shootout on my phone, and like the parking lot was like, oh my god, what the hell? And
Yeah.
then that was also Club America fans being like, oh, League's Cup is rigged, it's all for MLS teams. It's like I always say this whenever like teams like Club America, Barcelona, Real Madrid, not Manchester United, but the biggest teams in the world, whenever
Mm-hmm.
like their fan bases are like, "Oh, it's rigged, it's rigged." Why would any competition be rigged against the most popular teams? Like that is who
Yeah.
they want. Like if you follow like kind
Yeah.
of sports media, when you get like a World Series where it's like the Royals and the Brewers,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, "Oh, this is a disaster for Major League Baseball." If they were
Yeah.
going to rig it, they'd make it be the Dodgers versus Yankees every year, or they'd make it like the Knicks versus the Lakers or the Celtics versus the Lakers every year in NBA. So when one of the biggest, when literally probably the biggest club in North America is like, "Oh, this tournament was rigged," it's like if it was going to be rigged for anybody, it'd be rigged for you. It's the same thing with Messi and the Miami fans. We're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the referees are out to get Messi." It's like that's not how any of this works. It's like
No.
if
No.
anything is rigged, like go listen to like the Tim Donaghy like stories about how
Mm-hmm.
like it very much seemed like the back in the day it was the Jordans, the Kobe's, those were the guys who they were like, we got to call things a little tighter on Kobe tonight. We got to get him to the line a little bit more. We got to get Jordan. Jordan's getting hacked too much. It's like those are the guys who get the calls. So all
Yeah.
that rig stuff is just crazy going back on that one.
Yeah. We've talked we've somehow fell into the rigged rabbit hole so much. It's dumb. Our thesis on it is that it doesn't happen as much as people claim. Um, but you mentioned Miami. Miami's little brother, Orlando City. Uh, they came to Nashville and or well, was it at home or was it away?
It was at Nashville, yeah, home
They
game.
yeah, they came to Nashville and left with tears in their eye with a 5-0 beat down Nashville. Espinoza, I think, is like over the last couple games, I think he's really turning into the player that we thought we were getting. It was a bit of a slow start, new city, new environment, whatever. Um, I'm cool with it taking a minute. Sam Sarge hat trick again, including a penalty, and Warren Madrigal with 80th minute goal. It's just that it was a fun game to watch. Not that competitive, but if you like a lot of goal scoring, it's fun. The boys in gold did exactly what we thought they were going to do. Um, what was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, obviously a really great performance. I think the most encouraging thing coming out of it is, I think even as recently as last season, Nashville SC was a better team, but I think there were still games where we kind of played down to the competition, didn't quite, do our best against lesser opponents, didn't really take advantage of the opportunity to kind of, take those teams down. And it feels like we're starting to do that more, like kind
Yeah,
of beating New England pretty handily earlier in the season. This 5-0 win, it seems like when we have the chance to really, take advantage of a lesser opponent, we're kind of doing it. Like probably the toughest team we've played so far this season, I think would be uh, Dallas. Didn't have Sam Surge that game. They're
hmm
a decent team. They're off to a pretty good start, and 0-0 draw, whatever. But when we played New England, when we played Orlando, we kind of just have done what we needed to do and take care of business, and we're playing on the front foot. I remember there was it was this is going back to the Miami game a little bit. I think I heard a really good point about that game was when we got the goal to tie it 1-1 against Miami, you could just see the difference in Nashville
yeah,
now versus Nashville then was that instead of like hunkering down and parking the bus and trying to hold on, we were almost defending through attack where we were like trying to keep the ball away from Miami. We were putting the balls down into the corner and trying to hold it up in their third. So it's a very different Nashville SC team, and it's a different and as good a way as you possibly can. And uh, Orlando, once again, another team that could look very different the next time we see them. Obviously, the big news, like literally the day after we beat the crap out of them, was that they're officially signing Antoine Griezmann, French superstar, coming over from Atletico Madrid. Later this summer, it'll be after the World Cup. I think he comes in, which it was kind of like, I think the joke that was going around Nashville SC Twitter was, or like probably every MLS Twitter was like, he must be going down there for Disney World or something like that because there's no way he saw Nashville SC beat Orlando that bad and was like, this is the team I want to play for type
Yeah.
thing. So they got a little good news on the back end of the butt whooping Nashville SC gave them. But yeah, it was like I said, I think the most encouraging thing is just that Nashville SC is not playing down to the competition this season.
Mhm.
They are taking care of the lesser teams they should take care of.
Yeah, and that kind of rolls over into this next upcoming week in a way, where we have the Chicago game Saturday, which they're fifth in the table right now, and then obviously Tuesday we have the Club America game. So we keep kind of trying to figure out BJ and how he looks at these competitions, and I think we're pretty much going strong all games. I think we're really gonna see how much gas we have in the tank. Uh, we'll probably start to slow down a bit towards the end, but even our weaker side of our team, we still throw in a couple of the stronger guys and get it done. But I'm excited for this Chicago game. I think it's going to be a pretty good test, fair competition. I mean, we're one right on the table,
Hmm.
and they're
Yep.
five, which I feel like that's not that huge of a discrepancy to like completely count them out. Um, so I'm excited for the Chicago game. Which is it still? Is the coach still the same guy that BJ coached under?
Yep. Yep. Greg Berhalter, former U.S. men's
Mm-hmm.
national team coach, who BJ briefly replaced as the interim coach and had been his assistant for a long time, is Chicago Fire's coach. So it'll be a little interesting dynamic there. It'll be interesting. I think it's going to have a very similar vibe to the Columbus match because it's a road
Mm-hmm.
match ahead of a big CONCACAF Champions Cup match. So I think it'll be kind of a mixed bag. I think some key players will be rested, but I think
Yeah.
BJ will have them ready to go if we're close, or if it's similar to Columbus, if it's 0-0, or if we're down 1-0, maybe throw some guys on late and kind of really
Yeah.
go for it. So I think it's gonna have a similar vibe to the Columbus game. I've watched a little bit of them. I've read some stuff about them. It seems like they've kind of taken a step back after taking a step forward last season. Some things they did this offseason haven't quite clicked. They've had some injuries that have kind of held them back. So, similar to Columbus, they're kind of a decent team, but like not quite firing on all cylinders at this point. So, I mean, it's kind of is the story of National SC season so far this season. Is we've had some opponents who, if you kind of looked at the schedule ahead of time, you might have thought, oh, that'll be a challenge, that'll be a tougher opponent, but maybe things aren't fully into place, fully clicking for him yet, and things are for Nashville. So as long as we've got this momentum, as long as we've got this thing going, we got to keep it running, keep going for it.
Yeah. Completely agree. Cool. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch as a fan, just because it will be competitive. Even if it's a team where this Nashville team, and I've said it a couple times, we can't stop watching until the final whistle. Really, if we're down, 0-2 or e- hell even 0-3, I have full faith that this is a team that just doesn't look like it used to, with like you said, kind of putting your head down and just living with that. We constantly fight, and once we get one goal, it normally just ignites that fire and the rest of the players to keep going and keep pushing. So I'm super excited for all the competition this year, really. But yeah, outside of the Nashville soccer world, um, a big announcement. So I don't really follow the Premier League like a specific team, but I know my friends have certain teams, and I like kind of keep up with that news or take note. Um, I have a friend who's a Liverpool fan, and it's been rumored for the past like year, 2 years that Salah was going to be leaving, and that was finally announced. I don't think we've seen yet where he's going, but if I had to guess, probably Saudi. They worship him over there, um, and money bags, obviously. But uh, do you have any thoughts on kind of that exit?
Yeah, no, it seems like it was kind of like the time he's somewhat fallen out of favor with Liverpool. Like he got dropped a little bit earlier this year and kind of had a bit of a do with the coach over it. So, I think he's out of contract. So it's not like he's forcing his way out or anything like that. And he is on the, kind of, I hate to always say older side when it's like a dude's like 31, but like in sports, that is the older side. So I probably would agree with you. Like it does seem like, Saudi would be like the most logical thing, but they've been a little bit like on the back burner the last few years. They haven't like been snapping up people as much, and
Hmm.
I think there's probably some teams in Europe that might still like throw a bag at him. MLS seems to be getting back into that market, like with guys like Griezmann and everything going on in Miami. So you never know. I think he'll it'll be interesting to see where he goes, but because I think he's still got something there. He's last year they were Premier League champions, and he was
Yeah.
still playing at a high level. So it's not like he's completely fallen off a cliff and like just lost it. So I think he's still got something to contribute wherever he ends up.
Yeah, I saw. Of course, I saw a Miami rumor, which that was just like that would set a lot of people off. I think I don't think that's realistic, but you never know.
Yeah.
Um, a game that just happened recently that I caught a little bit of was the USA versus Belgium, I believe. Um,
Hmm.
that was the one that was in Atlanta. I think my buddy went down and traveled and watched it. He's a Man City fan, so he got to see De Bruyne play, which is his
Yeah.
like favorite player of all time. Did you get to watch that game, and did you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I got they actually had two games in Atlanta in the last couple days. They played Belgium on Saturday and then they played Portugal. What is today? Wednesday? Was that yesterday? No, 2 days ago.
2 days.
What is today? Today's Thursday. Yeah, they played Portugal on Tuesday. So kind of weird having a two-game stint in like the same city, especially like as big of a stadium as like Mercedes-Benz Stadium is. But it's kind of like the last two full-on real games before the World Cup. I think there's like one small warm-up game that's played like directly before the tournament started. So there was kind of a lot of attention on these games just because Belgium and Portugal, two pretty high-level teams from Europe, and last kind of big test for the U.S. before the World Cup, and not the best performances from USA. There was like some, obviously they got beaten
Mhm.
both, and fairly handily was the final score in the Belgium game at least. But there's some good moments. There's some, things to give you a little bit of hope there. The
Mhm.
Belgium game was the funniest thing about the Belgium game was just that like who approved the jersey combinations in that because it
Eh,
was like two teams in like slightly variants of white, like white with like faded blue, white with red stripes. It was like, especially watching it on TV, I was like, I don't know who's playing half the time. So it was that.
Yeah.
That's probably why we lost because neither team knew who was on which team. But it's been kind of a weird just build up to this World Cup for the US because as the host nation, you don't have to go through the qualifying cycle. So we really haven't had a lot of like big competitive,
Mhm.
meaningful games in the last like 3 years, which, usually you're in the build up to a World Cup, you're playing Mexico twice in two huge matchups. You're playing like, even like Costa Rica,
Mhm.
Jamaica games that have a lot to it. So we've been playing kind of just random somewhat high level friendly. So, playing Belgium, playing Portugal, two very good teams. It was kind of the biggest thing we've had in a while. So I'm certainly not feeling great coming out of those games based on that. But US is always has a weird way of like, I feel like the last like, yeah, we missed 2018, but like I think the 22 World Cup and even the 2014 World Cup, there was like some weird wonky performances right before the tournament. And then all of a sudden we came out and did the scrappy US thing where we get some results we probably shouldn't get and get at least to the quarterfinals. So who knows? Is it's the hardest to predict, hardest to know what to expect from the US
Mhm.
team. I think that I can remember in my lifetime just because not having had any real like fiery competitive matches, it's no telling what to expect. Like those two games weren't good, but there was maybe some promising signs there. So
Yeah.
who knows? It is definitely the weirdest World Cup buildup I can remember in my lifetime.
Yeah. I watched both games loosely. I want to be more interested in it. I don't know. MLS is I just love MLS and I'm so connected to it and I don't know why I can't get that with any other team. But yeah, I mean, piss poor performances, I would say, or I wouldn't say piss poor, but poor. The Portugal game, Ronaldo wasn't there. Obviously, that's one that think I took a note of. Uh, I want to catch a game in Mercedes-Benz so bad. That stadium it looks amazing. Have you watched a game there?
I have not. Like, actually, the first time I really got to see it kind of close up was when I went to the Hawks basketball game a couple weeks ago. So
Hmm.
I've been wanting to go to like a football game, college football game, soccer game, anything there, just because it looks like the most insane stadium in the world. But just never the timeline has perfectly lined up for me able to catch something there. But I know we got some World Cup games there this summer, and once again, that's the other thing that's crazy about kind of the low level hype of the World Cup is like it's in America, like it's here, like this summer. It's
Yeah.
not like it's on the other side of the world, and I still am like kind of weird like vibe, but like yeah, I may like ticket prices have been insane. I think that's another
Hmm.
price is that they've
Yeah.
just like right gouged the hell out of it. So who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky and can find a way to drop down to Atlanta again this summer and maybe catch a World Cup game if it's cheap enough. But you never know. But I will go at some point in time. I'll go to a Titans Falcons game, a
Mhm.
Nashville SC Atlanta United game. I'll find a way to go to the game there at some point in time.
I know. Yeah, and another thing about the World Cup this year is I saw a lot about like teams not being able to get like proper documentation that they need to like come and play here. So I think this is going to be one that's like weird, goes down in the history of like some just, bad bad taste around it.
You know, I don't ever want to get like too political in anything I do, just because I don't try to go down those roads too much. But
Yeah.
I think some of the stuff of people being like, oh, ban the U.S., remove the U.S. from the World Cup, or move it somewhere else. Eh, Are we doing everything right now as a country? No.
Yeah.
Was the last World Cup hosted in Qatar, who, is one of the greatest human rights violators in the world? Yes. Was the World Cup before that hosted in Russia, who is basically currently banned from all international competition and Olympics, sports, World Cup, soccer across the board? Yes. Was the one before that hosted by Brazil, who's not also? Oh, wait a minute, I might be losing track of places now. Basically, to say like
Yeah.
I think we got to take the World Cup away from the USA is a little bit overblown. Obviously, things are crazy here. Things are all over the place. But I think people, I think that's a lot of that's coming from people who just don't understand FIFA, who is
Hmm.
by far the more corrupt than any country or organization in the history of the world. Is FIFA is number one on
Yeah.
the corruption list. So if you think FIFA's worried about whatever's going on here, FIFA, as long as the check's clear, FIFA's good.
Yeah, I just saw like an interesting graphic on it and it's topical. It's currently relevant. So I don't want to get into politics really either, but it's just yeah, whenever you put it into perspective like that though, it makes it a bit more interesting.
I mean, if anything, I could see like our current president making some like big declaration of I've granted visas to all the soccer players because I love FIFA. He's won the FIFA
Yeah.
Peace Prize last year, so if anything, he'll make some big spectacle out of him
Yeah.
granting clemency and visas to all the players and act like it was some grand gesture by him when it's like this was going to happen no matter what. This is what the World Cup is all about. Like that, I could see it being more of a challenge for like traveling fans, like people coming from other countries, because
Yeah.
obviously that's a big issue. I don't the people who think like players and stuff like that might not be able to get into the country. I think that's a little overblown, but like I can understand why if you're somebody from like another country, especially certain countries, why you might be a little bit more cautious to travel for this World Cup. So like, to kind of not fully wash it under the board, I can
Hmm.
understand that side of it.
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna ban the Mexican national team from coming and playing in America. I don't. I think some of that
Hmm.
side of it is a little overblown. Common people I can understand those concerns a little bit more.
Yeah, and also Victor Wembanyama, his visa just ran out, and apparently the Spurs are like really struggling to get it fixed before the playoffs. And so I've been kind of following it from that case, which I think uh I think the president's gonna president. So if he has any time to boost himself up, he'll do it and come and play superhero. Free ASAP. ASAP is a situation of that. Whenever he freed ASAP Rocky, uh, from whatever jail he was in. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I hope it doesn't affect anything. I'll keep an eye out on it so we can keep watch of before we go down this road too far where we can't can't drive back.
Yeah.
Baseball world, Matt. I've tried to watch games, man. I've tried to watch games, but every time I go, I have to have a subscription that I don't have, so I don't watch games. But fill me in. What's happening? Any cool stuff that I should keep an eye out?
Yeah, I mean, before I go into it, you kind of mentioned something earlier about like trying to get into the U.S. national team and not fully being able to do it. I've always kind of thought it'd be a very interesting psychological study to like study the mind of sports fans, what makes us like hook
Mm,
into like certain teams. Like obviously, like I can, Nashville SC, Titans, stuff like that makes perfect sense. But
yeah.
like I grew up a Braves fan, but it's because my parents were the Braves because they were the closest team to Nashville. So like that also makes a little bit of sense. But like the fact that like Manchester United is probably my second favorite team or third favorite team, depending on where I'm currently feeling about Nashville SC or the Titans, is kind of crazy because I just started liking them because David Beckham played for them back in the day. And somehow I just became obsessed with them over time. Like I don't understand why a team that's like on the other side of the world for me became such an obsession for me. So that would be an interesting study. Just a little side tangent there, side note there. But
Yeah.
to what you did ask, yeah, I'm a big Braves fan. Always been a Braves fan. Braves were honestly kind of my first team because like I grew up being a Braves fan when we didn't have the Titans, when we didn't have the Predators, we didn't have Nashville C, and the
Mm,
Braves were the closest team. And I think it was because this is way older times that you would never remember, but like the Braves were on TBS, like they were a team you could watch every single game of, and like we didn't have that for even like the Falcons or the Hawks or like other Atlanta teams, but the Braves were on TV every night because baseball plays basically every night. So I think
mm-hmm.
that was a part of the thing was like my family could get into the Braves because we would watch them every night. So I'm into them. I don't follow the whole baseball all that closely. The whole baseball, what a weird way to say that. I don't follow all of MLB all that closely. Like I keep tabs. Like I get little news alerts if like some trade happens or some player does some kind of crazy milestone moment or whatever. But it's just cool. For whatever reason, it feels like it's been off to a good start this season. I don't know if it's because I just got to watch a bunch of games because I've been here and all the games are on TV in Atlanta where I'm at. So I've been able to watch all the Braves games on TV at least, even though I can't go, which sucks because they've been home for like 3 out of the 4 nights I've been here, but don't have access to a vehicle that's just my personal vehicle to be able to travel. But
Is it too far to
they're off to
Uber?
a pretty good start. Yeah, so where I'm at is technically Covington, Georgia, which is like literally on the opposite side of like downtown Atlanta. Like there's downtown Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the Battery where the Braves play is like on the what I would call this is not directionally correct, but I would call it the top side of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like it's the first part of Atlanta you hit if you're coming down from Nashville. And this is like where I'm at. You have to go like all the way through and like hang a left and then drive 30 more minutes. So it's not
Mm,
fully Atlanta. It's kind of like
yeah.
if you were from Murfreesboro or like Gallatin or Hendersonville or something, a suburb of Nashville. If somebody asks you, "Oh, where are you from?" you would just go, Nashville." Like just to be easy. That's what this area is. It's not really Atlanta, but I would guess a lot of people here probably tell people they're from Atlanta. Like when my
Yeah.
boss first asked me to come down here for a trip, he's like, "Can you go down to Atlanta next week?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I can go to Atlanta. That'll be awesome." And then I drove down here. I was like, "This is not really Atlanta."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like this is actually 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, and the Brave Stadium is like 20 minutes outside of Atlanta on the other side of Atlanta. So like I did look at Uber, and it was like basically like an hour drive,
Mm.
which an hour Uber right now there and back not really cost effective. So
Yeah. Yeah.
couldn't really justify it on this trip, but I'm just happy baseball's back because the Braves are off to a good start, and it's
Mhm.
a fun like baseball's like fun to just kind of like put on, and it's not like the same as like soccer
Mhm.
or even football. Like I know a lot of people like complain that, oh, it's slow, it's boring. Same things people complain about soccer.
Mhm.
I like putting on baseball because I can do like five other things and like have the big game going on and just like lightly pay attention. I can put on a podcast. I can be playing a video game. I can be watching a movie on my laptop or something like that. So baseball's like a good second screen experience where like you can do other stuff and then like, oh shoot, Braves just got a hit. That's pretty cool. So that might be your end of baseball is like pick a team, put it on a secondary screen and do something you actually enjoy at the same time and be like, oh,
You're really
that's
selling
also
how
happening over
fun
there.
it is to watch
Yes.
baseball.
Yes. Well, baseball games, like I think, really and truthfully, hockey and baseball are probably the two. Soccer, I mean, like because I just love soccer, but like for sports, I don't care as much about a soccer. Like I think hockey and baseball are probably the two best live sports
Mhm.
because hockey is just like fast paced. It feels like way more fast paced and energetic live than it does on TV.
Mhm.
And baseball, it's like not me, but other people be like, I'm here for the beers and hot dogs and just gonna wander around. And like
Yeah.
baseball stadiums are generally pretty well set up to where you can kind of wander around and still see the game. You don't have to necessarily
Mhm.
be in a seat. You can kind of stand around and watch in different areas. So yeah, I like baseball, but I can also understand why people don't. But like I said, baseball is almost better if you're not like like for me, I'm sure there's like diehard baseball people who would watch this and be like, I hate this guy. I cannot. Same as the any NBA fans who watched my hockey experience be like, why is this guy talking about baseball this way? It's so great. The pitches, the intensity. I'm just like, it's cool. I like it, but I also like to be able to do other things at the same time.
You're a walker. I've noticed that. You're an explorer at events where I am the complete opposite. I have to like sit down and watch the entire thing, and I get there early to walk around or, stay a little late. We're opposite in that way.
Mhm. Well, I think it also just kind of depends on like I can go to a Braves game and I'll want to walk around a whole bunch,
Mhm.
even though I like the Braves. But I think part of that is like baseball, it's 162 games a year. So like if I miss a key moment in the game, if I'm
Yeah.
like if I went to like a Braves playoff game, I probably would not leave my seat. But if I'm going to like a random Braves game in like June,
Mhm.
yeah, let's go see what they have in the concession stand. Let's go see what's in the merch stand. Let's go. Oh, I haven't tried this specialty hot dog they have left yet. Especially like with the Hawks game, with some of the other
Mhm.
games I've gone to. Like if I'm going by myself, it's also always kind of weird, like because you're buying a random ticket and
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
you don't always know what your seating situation is going to be. I try to get like an aisle seat if I can or something like that, but then sometimes you end up like sitting in a row with like seven people around you and you're just kind of like, I'm not really into this game. Why am I here? These
Yeah.
people are probably like, who's this random weirdo sitting next to me? Why did he buy this one seat? So
Yeah.
I think a lot of that goes into my walking. Like Nashville SC, once the game starts, I'm pretty much in my seat unless I have to
Mhm.
go like to the bathroom or something like that. Titans, I don't get up that much unless I'm trying to like document something specific for like a video or something like that. So I think it's like all depends on like the sport and how into that specific game I am. So, but
I
yeah, I do like baseball's a good walking around sport. I will say that. Once again, baseball, real hardcore people probably hate that.
I yeah, there's this video I saw a long time ago that just popped up in my head where how like some theaters have assigned seating. Uh
Mhm.
this guy, he bought, like, there's only two seats sold in the theater like right next to each other. He bought the seat right next to him. He's like, I can't
Mm.
wait for our date, you two lovebirds. It cracked me up. I Another thing I forgot to mention was the weirdest thing with the Memphis Grizzlies game. It was like wrestling night. Um I guess that's what it was, and they had like the Memphis amateur wrestlers come in and do like a match. They brought out like a full like wrestling thing. It was the weirdest thing ever, but one of the wrestlers' name was Lord Humongous. And I was like, I have to beat this guy. So I'll throw a picture up on the screen of me and Lord Humongous. It was just it was like, I'm not a wrestling person, I never have been, but that name just, I was like, this guy is, I want to be best friends with Lord Humongous.
Yeah, wrestling in Memphis was huge, huge, huge back in the day, like back before WWE kind of went global and took everything over when it was like a more of a territory based thing. Memphis wrestling was one of the biggest. Jerry the King Lawler, Memphis legend,
Mhm.
still kicking it. I've got an autographed picture of him that I got for Christmas from my brother-in-law, which was like one of my favorite gifts I ever got, because it was like we were doing like a weird like Secret Santa deal, and like unwrap this thing and it's a framed autographed picture of Jerry the King Lawler. And I'm like, this is so stupid, but it's so perfect for me because I love wrestling. Like Jerry Lawler's a big one because of just being a Tennessee guy. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, kind of being a little inebriated sometimes when you've met people. So I'll share a story too while we're on the subject of
Thank you.
Tennessee wrestling. I'm not a drinker, obviously, but there was one weird night at Nashville. I was at Tin Roof. I was feeling a little off. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if somebody spiked my water or whatever it was, but like I was what I think most people would call pretty hammered. And we're getting ready to leave, and Jeff Jarrett walks into the bar. Jeff Jarrett is probably the most famous wrestler to come out of Nashville, which, you know, uh, I also have some other connections to Jeff Jarrett, which I won't say for disclosure reasons, but I have always had a fondness for Jeff Jarrett because we have a lot of other connections beyond him being a very popular wrestler from Nashville. And he was just walking to this bar, and I walked up to him and I was like, I don't want to bother you tonight, man, but I just want to let you know I'm a fan. Thank you for all you do. And then I just kind of wandered off, and I was
Nice.
like, sure, Jeff Jarrett. I was like, what the hell was that all about? I was like,
It's always so I may have talked about this before, but just like being like at the end of Nashville SC games, all the kids rush the like, kind of wall there at the end. And of course I'm there too. And I was just this like drunk, grown ass dude, like, please sign my scar, please sign my jersey, having to fight like all the sweet, innocent kids and just my dumbass being there. It makes me think, and it makes me not the happiest when I think too hard about it. So we'll keep moving on. Uh,
yeah.
but I Project Hail Mary. I went and saw the movie. Have you got to catch it yet?
I have not, because I immediately got sent out of the country, not out of the country, out of town for work stuff. So once again, that was another thing I was like looking at. I was like, oh, could I just Uber to a movie theater? And even this weird town, like the nearest movie theater is like 20 miles away. I was like, it's like
You,
nothing easy to get to from here except the Chili's that's in the parking lot here. So I think I'm gonna try to, because I think I'm gonna try to catch it when I get back. Because I think I made a deal with my wife where I can't remember we had some agreement where we'd go see the movie this weekend if I did something. Oh
that's
crap! What did I agree to? I can't remember. Oh well, yeah. But I was planning to see it. Like I saw your, I think it was on TikTok. I saw
hmm
your review. I didn't watch the full thing because like I try to avoid like full reviews or like full too much details about movies or stuff like that before I see them. Just because I like to like have a general idea if people are
yeah.
liking it or not, but I also don't want like too much information before I go in. So, but it seemed like you didn't like it as much as the kind of general consensus was from like the quick little bit of your review I saw.
I clickbaited a little bit. The movie was good.
I was saying, see, I clicked away because I was like, I don't want to watch this full review. I don't want to get too spoiled. So maybe I missed the clicky bait part of it.
The movie was good. There's people I see discourse online of people saying that this is like the best sci-fi movie ever, which that's where I was like, it's not that good. It's still a strong like 8 or 9 out of 10 for me. I think that you'll really enjoy it. It took it eliminated the worst parts of the book in my opinion. Um, and obviously like hit on all the great parts. So I think it's good. I think that there's going to be like two sides of the coin here that I've been seeing because I'm in this like big like movie TV show discussion like group chat with a lot of like film bros or like they're kind of pretentious. Um so we've all kind of they're the type of people that if an MCU movie gets brought up, they're like immediately crapping on it, which fair in the last few years, but there's still good ones. So there's this discourse from like people like that who are not gonna like it just because it's popular. Uh, but most people seem to enjoy it, and I was one of those people. IMAX was super cool. I That was my first time getting to watch something in IMAX. They played like a 6 minute random movie excerpt of like the Odyssey in there. Which listen, excited for that movie. I love Christopher Nolan, but that's the dumbest way to show it. Uh, I hated it so much, man. It's I would rather watch trailers.
Yeah, I saw stuff about that online. I think that's an interesting approach, like that they're doing like a instead of like a trailer, like almost like a prologue or something like that, where it's like we're not going to release this on YouTube or anything like that. You actually have to go see a movie, which to to try to like get people back in the theaters and stuff that's still a thing. I get it, but like it is kind of like, especially like if you're like just like a diehard person who wants to see Project Hail Mary, and then you got to sit through a 6 minute thing where you're like, I could not possibly care less about this. I could see that being like a annoying, frustrating thing. Like, and I even me, I'm definitely like you said, same excited for Odyssey. I don't know if I necessarily need to see a 6 minute
Yeah,
prequel 6 months before I get to see the actual movie itself.
it's just such a weird format to like to show that because you're here to watch this movie that you're super excited about. So let's show you a random part of another movie that you're excited about with no other context to it. Because if I just if I just took the context of that 6 minute and gave it what it was kind of boring, to be honest.
Mm.
But in the shape of the whole movie, I'm sure it'd be awesome. It looks good. John Bernthal, and it's the scene from the trailer with John Bernthal talking to
Mm.
Tom Holland's character, like, but were you
Gotcha.
in the horse or whatever? It looks sick. I can't wait for that movie. But that's such a dumb way to show stuff.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested with Project Hail Mary because it kind of like it, I'm getting like similar vibes to Sinners, and they both kind of came out around the same time, like Sinners. So I kind of wonder, like, will it hold up throughout the rest of the year? Because there's like a ton of insane movies coming out this year, like The Odyssey amongst them. So will it hold up the way Sinners kind of did, or is it like a case where like nothing really good comes out from like January to February? So like the
Mm,
first good movie that comes out every year kind of blows up a little bit more maybe than it would otherwise. So I'm kind of interested to see it for myself, but also kind
yeah.
of then see what kind of legs does it have? Can it hold up? Because like I know a lot of people, like you said, there's people who are just like freaking out, like it's the best thing they've ever seen. Sinners was kind of getting that same kind of buzz last year. So
Mm,
with everything else that's coming out this year, I know you can't possibly be more excited for anything than Dune 3, but I mean Dune 3, Odyssey, not like we said, not the same kind of category of like Oscar type movies, but all the Avengers, Spider-Man
mhm.
stuff. God, there's probably I was looking through a list the other day. There's like 40 insane movies coming out this year that look
Yeah.
like they're going to be awesome. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like, is this just like a, oh, we got the first good movie of the year, we're super excited about it, or does it kind of hold up and it's still kind of sticking around towards next Oscar season?
I think so it can win an Oscar, I think, but probably not for any of the like huge categories, like practical effects maybe or something like that, because the the sidekick character, I don't know if you know its name or not. I'm trying to not spoil too much.
It's Rocky, right?
Yeah, Rocky. He's like
Hmm.
completely practical and is a puppet that is manned by like five puppeteers with the voice actor off to the screen. So I think that could be something that could, potentially move the Academy. Um, it's a good movie. It's just you got to go in there with the right expectations, which it's hard to do if you exist on the internet at all. Um, but if you go in just looking for a fun time, you'll come out of it with that, and I think that's super good. Will it
It'd
be
be
top?
very interesting to see if we get to like best Oscar head to head, like Gosling versus Chalamet, because I think those would be like two dudes that like a lot of
Oh
people
yeah.
would both be rooting for. That would be like this year. I think like it was like Chalamet has his fans and Michael B. Jordan. I think there's probably people that are happy for it, but I think like there'd be like a
Mhm.
lot of like very heavily invested people in like Gosling because I feel like they both kind of have that thing where they've both had like a lot of good performances, a lot of good movies, and just haven't ever got the award. Like he had La La Land. I thought he was awesome in Barbie. Like I really thought he
Yeah.
should have won the supporting actor award for Barbie just because like he just I don't know. That was I like Robert Downey Jr. and Oppenheimer, but like I mean like him and Barbie was just like I don't know, something about those type
He
of performances. I get more into that where you just like completely like transform yourself into somebody completely different like that.
Yeah,
So, but that would be a very fun best Oscar race is like the two. Because I think I even like had a TikTok the other day where it was like I don't know if I was because I was like looking at stuff about like Project Hail Mary or what, but it was like from a few years ago at the Oscars, it was like Ryan Gosling and oh shoot, what's the guy from Gladiator? Why am I not thinking his name?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. And they I think it was when they were in a movie together and they were presenting an Oscar and like
Hmm.
they were kind of joking back and forth and Ryan Gosling said, "Ah, we can't behave like this. Two performers like us with two Oscar Academy Awards between
Yeah.
us." And Russell Crowe's like, you haven't won an Oscar, have you? And he's like, well, you have two, so technically we do have two between
Yeah.
us. And then Russell Crowe's like, I only have one. And Ryan Gosling was like, this is just all irrelevant. Let's get back to the point. So it's like he's almost like one of those like dudes who like has had a shot at it but hasn't gotten over the
Yeah.
hump yet. And Chalamet's getting there now. So like if they were kind of like in a head-to-head race, that would be very entertaining for Oscar purposes.
Yeah, I think Gosling, like he had a great performance in this. I think it'll be an easy to beat performance. But I watched one of the like Vanity Fair variety videos of like where the cast or whatever will answer the 20 most searched questions. And it was Ryan Gosling, the two directors, and Andy Weir, the author of Project Hail Mary, and it was like just the hardest watch ever. It was, they're all just like the comic book Simpsons guys, and then Ryan Gosling like trying to not be an asshole to him. Like it was weird. Ryan Gosling was supposed to star in the same director's next movie, but it was announced today that he had like canceled that for some reason. So
Mm.
um, I don't know, but I think you'll enjoy it. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. Uh, yeah.
I have one last question before we wrap up that. Are you aware of like the apparent big discourse around this cardigan he wears in the movie?
No, I'm not familiar.
Apparently he wears like a fox cardigan in the movie and it's apparently become a big thing on like TikTok and like people trying to search it out and find it. Like I randomly stumbled upon it and I sent it to my wife because for reasons my wife and I have affinity for foxes and I was
Yeah.
like I might need this cardigan. You might need to find where this exists and get it for me. But
There's some
I
good
just thought that
knitwear.
was funny of all like that's what I'm saying. Like of all the fun weird things that come out of movies and stuff, the
Yeah.
stuff that people like grab onto is like, oh my god, look at this freaking cardigan. like when I'm just randomly scrolling through TikTok and people are freaking out over like a cardigan he wears in
Yeah.
the movie, I'm like, this is I gotta see this movie and I gotta get this cardigan.
His outfits in it were sick, and yeah, it's such a it's such yeah, it's I want to watch it again. When we watched it, it was like on our road trip back from Memphis. We watched it the same night at like 10 p.m. My girlfriend fell asleep for the whole movie pretty much, and I was, I didn't fall asleep because I'm not a baby. I don't do that during movies, but I was definitely tired, which I think maybe affected my score if we're being a little
Mm,
honest. I have a,
gotcha.
I have a question for you though, Matt. To kind of
Sure.
end things, end things out. Let's wrap it up on a fun question. Okay, would you rather take a red pill where you can go back in time and fix a bad movie to make it great? Or would you take the blue pill to go into the future and ensure that a movie is going to be a 9 out of 10 at least?
I would probably go blue pill just because I think most of the movies that I've been really disappointed in have been like comic book movies, which you can
Hmm.
just go back and reboot like 4 years later and fix everything anyway.
I
So
need
there
specific
hasn't.
examples.
I mean, okay, so like the whole Zack Snyder DC era was
Hmm.
pretty much a disaster, and thus far the new James Gunn Superman DC era is pretty good. So it's like,
Hmm.
it sucked seeing all the Batman versus Superman and terrible Justice League movies, but now we're kind of looks like we're back on the right foot. So it's kind of like I wouldn't go back. I do kind of wish we had gotten a better Ben Affleck Batman movie because I do
Yeah,
think he was kind of perfect for Batman, especially like kind of the older, grizzled, been through the ropes Batman. So
as long as he doesn't
I
kill.
am up. Yeah, he shouldn't have killed. He was just a murderous, rampaging
Yeah.
Batman, which is terrible. But like, as an actor, as a performer, I think Ben Affleck probably had a good Batman movie
Yeah.
in him, with a better writer director probably paired up with him. So that probably is disappointing to me. But I still wouldn't go back in time and change it just because comic books, you just wait 5 years, you get a new one. So I don't think there's
Hmm.
any movie from the past that I'm ever like. I mean, probably more like TV shows. Like, I mean, like, I would like to go back and slap the creators of like How I Met Your Mother in the face and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But I can't think of any movies where I'm like just ruined. Also, probably I don't read enough books to where like there's probably not been a book that just like crushed me from the adaptation. Like
Yeah.
the Harry Potter movies were all pretty good. Jurassic Parks have always been good. It's like books that I like that got made into movies. There hasn't really been one that really was like, oh my God, what are you doing? How are you going to do this to my favorite story or something like that? So I can see why like people who are like have those situations might be. So I probably like, I don't even know what it'd be, but yeah, I would definitely probably more likely go into the future to like ensure a movie I want it to be good would be good than I would go in the past, because I can't really come up off the top of my head of anything where I'm like,
Yeah.
I think if anything, I would probably go into the future, because I mean, they've done everything they can to stop it from happening, but it just feels like someday it's going to happen just because everything gets rebooted, gets a sequel now. I would go into the future to stop Back to the Future 4. I would just
Yeah.
keep going forward like 10 years, and every time like somebody tries to get it going, like, because I mean, maybe like when Steven Spielberg and like the people that created it die, that somebody will be like, we can do it now, and I'll just come in and be like, no, and slap it away from them and stop them. That would be more likely in any scenario that I would do, is go into the future to stop people from trying to reboot Back to the Future.
Yeah. There's so many, like, obviously, when I think about the future, Dune 3 is one that like I need to be good. Because
Yeah.
if Dune 3 is amazing, it's gonna go down as the greatest trilogy of all time for me. But also, I don't think I'd waste it on that because I have high faith anyways. Um, Looking back, it's not. It's probably gonna be one of those, like you said, kind of inconsequential movies in a way. Uh, I'd want to say like the Star Wars sequels, but if I
Mhm.
could only choose one, I don't think it would really, it wouldn't pull the others up as much. But making sure those were good would be a priority. Um, Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi. If I could have made that great, that would have went down as, one of the most popular superhero franchises, which it is already, but everyone shits on 3, fair enough.
That would actually kind of be a good one from a certain perspective, because I think like people almost forget how good Spider-Man 2 and really
Hmm.
Spider-Man 1 were, because Spider-Man 3 was so bad. It's almost like Spider-Man 2 was like
Hmm.
almost like the game changer that got us all the comic movies we get now.
That next
And
man,
it's
yeah.
almost like forgotten when people like come up with like the best superhero movies, because Spider-Man 3 is just like, ugh,
Yeah.
weird. And I remember kind of being really excited for it, because like I know like there was everybody hated Topher Grace getting cast as like Venom,
Yeah.
but I was kind of like, I had it in my head that I was like, I know he's not how Eddie Brock is portrayed in like the comics or anything like that, but I like him as kind of like the weird evil Peter Parker, because he had that kind of opposite Toby Maguire,
Yeah.
still a nerd kind of guy. I was like, this could be an interesting take on the character, of making him just be, instead of like this weird meathead guy who turns into Venom, making him like just the opposite of Peter Parker. I thought, I was like, that could have been interesting, and then it just did not work at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Spider-Man 3, but I know that it's bad. But I love
Hmm.
Spider-Man 3. That's like when
Hmm.
I have a core memory of like when I was real small, whenever it came out, of going to see it with my dad. And so that obviously plays into a role there. TASM 2, I mean, Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. That's a hot take, I know. But I feel like he's so I just love him. He's so cool. And I feel like if TASM 2 was good and not the crap shoot that it was, we would have got more Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, and I think he deserved that. Um,
Yeah, I liked him a lot in both of those movies, and I liked like everything he did, kind of like to show how much he cared, like, showing up at like Comic Con dressed as Spider-Man and
mhm.
all that stuff. but I really didn't really like fully appreciate how good he was as Spider-Man until No Way Home when he got to come back and do it again. And I was like, oh, we this guy got screwed over. He was awesome as Spider-Man. And like there was like some buzz, like maybe they'll reboot it and just do it as like a multiverse spin-off thing. And I was like, I would be all in for that because like I'm back on the Andrew Garfield bandwagon after that one.
He was so good. Do you follow? There's this. I think they're called the Escape Pod. Uh, you may be familiar and seen clips of them, but it's one guy is called the Hat Guy. It's this like skinny tall guy that always has the worst takes, and then the other dude's always in like a Spider-Man hoodie. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't think I'm familiar with them, but it sounds like a very entertaining series.
I'll have to send you clips as they pop up, but it's just like two people with like the worst takes imaginable, and they're diehard about it too. And the one guy just hates Tom Holland's Spider-Man, which Iron Boy Jr., right? But that doesn't mean that they're not good movies. The Michael Keaton like reveal as the dad was awesome. I think that's like
Hmm.
one of the first times that like I didn't really see a comic book twist coming. Um, but yeah, shout out to those guys. They're something else. Sometimes I think it's a bit more rage bait than it is their actual feelings, but who knows? Uh,
Tom Holland is a very good Peter Parker. I think obviously like you said, the Iron Boy Jr. type portrayal of Spider-Man is it's been fine, but it's not been, as maybe comic book accurate. So it'll be interesting to see now that we're kind of getting
this new
that
one,
was kind of the tail end of the previous movie. And from what the trailers look like, it looks like we're getting a more traditional Spider-Man character as well, in addition to him as Peter Parker. So I'm looking forward to that one.
do you think that he should go tell MJ who he is and how he knows her?
Can't imagine that's gonna just stick forever because like the idea of like just nobody ever remembering Peter Parker just feels like too big of a weird thing. I think that was almost like I kind of almost wonder if that was like a storyline choice based on because Sony and Marvel still like co-own
Mm,
Spider-Man when it comes to like movie stuff. So it was almost like a did they maybe weren't sure if they were going to be bringing him back in more MCU movies or not. So it's kind of like, well, if we can't use Spider-Man more anymore in the MCU, what's the easy get out of jail card for that? It's
yeah,
there's a magical spell where nobody remembers him, so we could just that's how we explain that Spider-Man's not around the next time Doctor Doom or whoever attacks the planet or something like that. But
yeah,
I guess they've worked it out. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's, but it always that's kind of one of the frustrating things about Spider-Man is that it seems like comic book creators, movie filmmakers are just dead set that he's never going to get to be happy. He always has to be just lose whatever. Like, I mean, that was
yeah,
one of the more annoying things to me about Spider-Man 3 was that like, okay, we did the whole thing in Spider-Man 2. MJ finally knows who he really is. They can just be together. They can be happy. And they're like, no, we got to come up with new stuff and got to make it all weird and still have him go through trials and tribulations. And then it's like, comic books, they erase the marriage, which is like, I hate that. That's one of my most hated things.
yeah,
I could do a whole like 3 hour podcast on how stupid that is. But then the movie is kind of doing the same thing where it's like, Spider-Man can just never be happy. He's always got to make the sacrifice. He's always got to put others first type thing. So I can't imagine they're just going to keep it where Peter Parker's just like a non-existent hobo that nobody ever's like, oh,
yeah,
who's that weird guy across the street that we don't. I think they're going to find a way to kind of roll that back, but then they'll also be like, but I have to go fight Doctor Doom, so we can't be together. You stay with your weird boyfriend that's in the apartment with you that we met, or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So
I'm excited
it'll be
for it.
interesting. Yeah.
I think it'll be good. I don't. There's so many like theories, obviously, and whatever. I think we might finally see some form of the symbiote with the cocoon scene and stuff. Um, I don't know. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a great year for movies, for comic book nerds, for nerds in general with Dune, Spider
Mm-hmm.
Man, Doomsday. Avengers are rumored to be thinking about pushing back their date. So that would be great so we can catch both in IMAX. But we'll just have to see. You have anything else for this week, Matt?
I think we kind of covered all bases.
we
Going back to baseball.
we ramble about things, and then and we that's the show. We just ramble, and it's fun. Hopefully, it was enjoyable for you guys. You can find me on YouTube, Wormy, or Dillon tries to read on TikTok, posting more there. Matt, if you want to plug yourself.
Yeah, it's Uncle Matt on YouTube, social media as well. I'd had a whole lot going on lately just because Nashville season's been off and I've been stuck coming down here and not doing as much while I've been down here. So, but you got your big watch party coming up. You gonna plug that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, so there is this Sunday. I didn't realize it was Easter Sunday when I scheduled it, so I kind of flubbed up there. But this Sunday,
I mean, well, I mean, it's an Easter movie. I mean, if there's any holiday I would connect it to, it's because all about family and the Christ
religion.
figure and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah. April 5th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing a Dune watch party for the first Dune, and we're gonna, have a discussion after. I'll have some questions to kind of get people in the mindset for Dune Part 3 this year. And then the following Sunday, the 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be watching my favorite movie of all time, which is Dune Part 2. Uh, so if you want to be wrapped into that, go uh, message me on TikTok and I'll send you the Discord stuff. Uh, Dylan tries to read, and hopefully I see a lot of you there. Were you done plugging yourself?
That's everything I got.
Okay, cool. I'll cut that again. All right. Thank you guys for watching this week's episode. Go Boys in Gold. Hopefully, we will take home this win against Chicago and Club America. We'll probably be covering both matches the next show, I'd imagine, is how that falls. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.